Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is Metro Exodus. This is a tips and tricks video to talk through the things that I've learnt while playing this game that might be useful to you. There'll be a variety of tips in here which hopefully you'll find useful. Please stick with me as I go through a number of different tips. Now, if you're a fan of the Metro series and you've played the previous games, then you'll find Metro Exodus a relatively easy game to play because it features a lot of the same mechanics. For example, you'll find yourself in a bunch of irradiated zones that require you to wear a gas mask, and you'll get notifications on when to do that by your character choking and by the sounds of radiation in the area. You do need to maintain your gas mask and the filters to ensure that you don't die, so that's one big part of it. I should also warn you before you watch any more video that this contains a variety of video footage captured from throughout the game, so there might be some light to heavy spoilers in it, so be warned. However, the game itself is also excellent, so it's worth having a peek at the gameplay footage. Now, Metro series also requires a lot of maintenance of your weapons, which I'll be showing you in a bit, and there's some interesting mechanics with that. But some very basic tips start off with scoping out your areas. So here you can see I've scoped out a little hut in the distance there that has some people in it, and I was wondering, I could see weapons, so using binoculars you can zoom in a bit further than you can with your main weapon, even with decent scopes on it. And you can see the little hut and the people in it. Now, it's worth using the binoculars because it allows you to scope out the area, and doing so will highlight areas of interest on your map. Also, it meant that I could look at these guys before I arrived and see whether they were friendly or not. Now, they pulled their weapon on me, but I press and hold H to lower my gun so that it shows I'm not a threat, and then they get chatting, so you can get chatting with these guys. Obviously, I could have killed them and then looted their bodies, but it might be worth talking to these chaps because they could give away more information. Also, you get to see some engagement with the characters in the world, which is pretty nice, makes it a bit more immersive. Also meant I could go into their building and loot. Now, the next tip is to not necessarily engage everything you see, because ammo is sparse. Weapons need maintaining constantly, otherwise they get damaged and become useless. So stealthing is pretty important. You can get up close and melee baddies, and then you have the option to either knock them out or kill them. But mutants, monsters and such, some of them take a lot of punishment. You can see here I'm using a lot of ammo, and also my silencer is now overheating and I'm ending up having to run away. So that's the other tip, run away from battles. Use stealth as much as you can. Run away if you get in trouble. If you're surrounded by loads of mutants and you don't have much ammo, then running away is an option. You can see I got myself in a bit of a pickle by engaging with that single mutant. It wasn't really necessary, so you can move around the world and try and avoid contact where possible. Also, the mutants and monsters don't tend to drop ammo or anything interesting, so they're not much. You don't get any reward for killing them, which is frustrating. Sometimes, however, that is worth engaging them. You can see I found this one up here on top of this water tower thing that has a nest. Now, it's one of the winged ones, and it also takes a hell of a lot of punishment. Put a lot of rounds into this monster before it dies, which means I've then wasted loads of bullets that I'll need to get in order to carry on playing. You can see the silencer and the scope make a bit of difference as well. They're quite good for combat, especially against people. You can pick up a variety of weapons in the game as well, and the cool thing is you can modify almost all of them to change them into something else or make them very different, which I'll show you in a bit. It was worth killing this creature though, because there's a bear here which is part of the story that you get to give to a small child, which keeps them happy. The next tip is regarding the maintenance of weapons. Now, when you're killing enemies, one thing to do, you can obviously search their body for loot, but you also get the option to loot their weapons. Now, you can either pick up fallen weapons, surprise surprise, not a big deal, not different to other games, but the other option you get is to dismantle their guns basically, because all guns are made in the game based on a small barrel and whatever else, and then you add a load of attachments to it, so you can loot enemy weapons and take those bits of ammunition and crafting tools and parts of the weapon to use on your own. You'll also note when you do that, you'll get to see orange parts on those weapons that might include scopes or magazines. Those orange highlighted bits represent bits that you can actually use at a workbench. So when you're in various places on trains or in buildings, you'll find workbenches scattered around the map. At these workbenches you can build ammunition, and you can also change the guns themselves and add the various attachments that you've found. That means you can craft different bits for the weapons and make them more meaty, or convert them from long range to short range weapons. You get different sorts of stocks, sights, magazines, all sorts that you can change. One of the things I like to do is have one with night vision scopes on it, so you can see in the dark, because you will find yourself in a number of situations like that, and also to have a silencer on one of them so you can stealthily take out baddies if you can't get close enough to melee them. You'll be able to see the difference all these attachments make, and as I said, you'll be able to find them scattered around. The other thing of note is that you can only craft ammunition at these workbenches for most of the guns. The only difference is the pneumatic rifle that you get quite early on in the game, which you can make steel balls for. Now you can do that with your backpack anywhere in the world as long as you have the crafting parts to do it. So that gun is very important, because you'll soon find you run out of bullets quite quickly of standard weapons. So looting everything is really important, but also getting up close and dealing damage is also key. Throwing knives are very useful for taking out baddies at close quarters and saving bullets, as is the melee capabilities. It's also important to use this workbench to get your medical stuff up. Now here you'll see that I've been given incendiary rounds for one of my rifles. Those are also very useful. I highly recommend crafting those when you get them. There is a part in the game a few hours in where you find yourself in a bunker with some pretty horrible spiders. If you're an arachnophobe, you won't like this bit. They're basically afraid of light, but they also don't like fire, so Molotov cocktails are very useful to taking them out. You can use your torch to scare them off a bit, but in the dark areas the incendiary rounds are highly effective against them, so it's worth building those and making sure you have them. I would save them and not waste them on people, although that is entertaining. They do a lot of damage. These spiders take a hell of a lot of punishment with standard weapons. Endless amounts of rounds, which can be really tricky. You can use your lighter to keep them at bay though, which is worth noting as well. In the same way that you can burn down spiders' webs, they are afraid of the lighter, but if you put it away to reload your weapon, they will come for you and they take a lot of punishment. You can see here I've managed to get a sniper rifle and upgraded that with a night vision scope, so you get to see that does a lot of damage over long range, but again has limited ammo. There's a part here, another tip for you, where you're on a train and you have to take this train to a certain area. Now you will find that you end up, if you follow that main track, you'll just end up coming to a dead end. So what you have to do is get off the train and change the points, and you'll see it just here. Really simple, easy tip. You can just change the points on the tracks and then you'll get to go down the right track and carry on. Generally, for the most part, Metro Exodus is really easy to play. Just my main tips would be to conserve your ammo and make sure you loot as much as possible. Also, pick up the glowing mushroom things that you find around the game, because you need those to clean your weapons. Keep your weapons clean as much as you can. At every workbench you find, clean them. Make sure they're well maintained, and then you will be able to survive. Hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe and come back for more in the near future. Thanks.